What's up guys, I'm Vincent Rojas, and yet again the host of this lovely YouTube channel, Red Reviews. As is tradition, I am of course reviewing a movie that came out 2 months ago and that no one is talking about anymore. Today's gem is Civil War, which is written and directed by Alex Garland and stars Kirsten Dunst, Wagner Moura, McKinley Henderson, Cailee Spaney, Nick Offerman, and Jesse Plemons. The plot of this movie takes seasoned war photographer Lee, her colleague Joel, amateur photojournalist Jesse, and their friend Sammy on a road trip from New York City to Washington, D.C. in order to get an exclusive interview with the President of the United States after the country is engulfed in the turmoil caused by a civil war. So first off, I apologize for this late review. I hope more than 5 people watch this video. But also, you know what? This is my channel and I make the rules. I work my own hours, baby. So I saw this movie the Monday after it came out, but I've been caught up with things, so I'm reviewing it now. This review is mostly going off of what I remember from that day 2 months ago, but that also kind of makes this review awesome because these are the highlights of the movie and are what really stuck with me 2 months after having seen it. This movie, if you didn't know, makes quite a jaw-dropping impression. The first thing I vividly remember is the cinematography. This is some wicked good camera work. I was absolutely blown away by how good this movie looks. The cinematographer's name is Rob Hardy, and after perusing his Wikipedia page, I realized that I actually haven't seen most of his movies, the standout prior to this film being Mission Impossible Fallout. However, I will now keep this man on my radar because his work was exceptional in this movie. He went above and beyond, making every shot count. Apparently, he worked with Alex Garland in all of his previous films, those being Ex Machina, Annihilation, and Men. I really like it when that happens, when a director and a DP team up on a bunch of movies. It's always really cool to me. I saw this movie in IMAX, and the image really pops on a big screen like that. I would recommend watching it in IMAX if you have the chance, but this movie has already been pulled from theaters across the USA because
I'm really late on this review.
Also, the sound was really loud and harrowing without being too much. This is a war movie, and so the sound is really loud, but it's never overbearing. This is a very visceral movie, and the sound aids it in that regard. Gunfire and yelling really get inside your head to achieve the vision that I believe Garland was going for. I enjoy the fact that this movie centers on photographers because the shots are accentuated by this fact. Characters are talking about photography and shot structures, and the movie looks really gorgeous to complement that. The presentation of the film itself plays into its themes. It's a really simple thing, but I don't know, it's kind of genius in an understated sort of way. Sometimes the movie sort of like pauses, going into a still image and ending all sound as the click of a camera plays, depicting a photo taken by one of the characters. It's really jarring and effective every time it happens, and it happens throughout the film. Secondly, I enjoyed the way that this film presents its narrative. It's a really simple plot, as the whole movie is just a road trip to Washington, D.C., but along the way, our leads meet a lot of different characters with a lot of different perspectives on the war. Some of them are trying to stay out of the war, while others are just trying to survive by killing those who are trying to kill them, not even caring about sides. For these people, it's just about survival. Others take the war as just a chance to brutalize other humans. So many different perspectives are presented, and I really like how the film doesn't present any of them in a right kind of way. The characters, being photographers, aptly stay out of conflict and just report on events in the same way that the movie itself doesn't really take a side and just presents different viewpoints. It's really interesting. I remember when this movie came out and some people were annoyed that the movie doesn't pick a side, but I really like that. I know that if this movie was like woke people against conservative people, I would probably have walked out. I'm not kidding. This is a mild spoiler, but the movie doesn't even tell the audience how the titular Civil War even started. And you have no idea what the sides are, and I really enjoy that. It's something that I haven't seen before, and it adds to the movie rather than detract from it. The biggest joke surrounding this movie is the fact that Texas and California have united.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California.
It was in the trailer, and I even went on Letterboxd, and the most popular review of this movie is someone going, I genuinely want to know what the president did that made Texas and California join forces. Like, this guy thinks he's so smart. Sorry, Tyler, no beef. Watch me get sued by Letterboxd Tyler. I even had a friend joke about that a few days ago. You know what? It's a movie. Suspend your disbelief. The characters also all work to the film's benefit. You have Lee, who's probably the closest to the main character and is played by Kirsten Dunst. She's a seasoned war photographer and is pretty emotionally detached from everyone else, but she starts warming up to others as the film progresses. Her colleague Joel could be said to be sort of the comic relief of the film, but he's one of the few examples of comic relief in a movie this year done right. He's actually pretty charismatic and funny for once, which was much appreciated. Sammy is like an elder war photographer who can't get around as well as he used to, and is kind of relegated to the background a bit, but his insight provides an interesting viewpoint as he's been doing this job the longest of the four. And Jessie is a young novice who looks up to Lee and aspires to be like her, so Lee kind of takes her under her wing, reluctantly at first, but she starts to grow on Lee. Overall, this is a varied quartet? No, that sounds like a jazz group. We'll go with squad. This is a varied squad of characters, and I like how they each bring something interesting and engaging to the table. Also, Jesse Plemons is barely in this movie. I got excited watching the trailer, and I was hotly anticipating seeing him in the movie because I hated him in Breaking Bad. He plays Todd dangerously well, but man, you just hate that guy. And he's barely in the movie, which is disappointing. He's literally in it for one scene. However, I like that this movie has Jesse Plemons yet again abusing someone named Jesse. It's almost a running gag that characters played by Jesse Plemons abuse characters with his same first name, Jesse. Like, come on, Jessies are not safe from this man, I swear. I will never be able to unsee him as Todd Alquist. I went into this movie only having seen the trailers like once each, and I think that was the perfect way to experience the film. I was pleasantly surprised by this experience. I saw this with one of my closest friends, and he ended up really liking it as well. I'm not going to spoil the way that this movie ends, but I feel like it was a very apt and fitting conclusion to the story. This movie was distributed by A24, and if you don't know who they are, then you probably don't watch that many movies. Not me gatekeeping A24, by the way. It's a very large American company that distributes indie films and television shows, and they give a lot of freedom to the directors that work with them so that they can fully express their vision. They distributed 2 of Alex Garland's 3 previous films, those being Ex Machina and Annihilation, and A24's movies feel like niche indie movies even with their higher budgets. Their films don't feel mainstream, and it's really interesting. And this movie definitely does not feel like a mainstream film, and I really like that. Apparently, this was A24's most expensive film to date, and it became its second highest grossing film, which I think is awesome. The budget really paid off. This looks like a $50 million movie. Alex Garland said that this might also be his last solo directorial credit, and if it is, I think that he went off with a bang. I believe he's switching to screenwriting, and I'm excited to see whatever else this man comes up with. Overall, this was a very good movie. The acting was top-notch, along with the directing, writing, editing, and cinematography. I will be watching it again soon. And alright guys, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end, and keep your eyes peeled for some more reviews coming soon. Go have a nice day. What's left of it. Peace.